Well, they can't all be winners. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about, is Reverb finally going to fall? Now, truth be told, I've been thinking about doing this video for quite some time, but then with the recent news of the acquisition of Reverb, it decided to, it's time to do it. We're going to get to that part later. We're going to start with the original reasons I had to do this video first, and then move into that. So years ago, when I first got on Reverb, it really was a great way to buy gear. There was so much cool gear out there, well priced. The fees were not bad. You could actually get a decent deal. Over time, it has shifted. There was also great customer service back then. I don't know how long you guys have been on Reverb, or if you know, back in the day, there was a customer service hotline. You could call and actually speak to somebody. It's not that way anymore. Now there's a chat bot. You got a chat bot. Hopefully you can get to an email chat thread with a real person after that. But back in the day, you would call them and they would answer. That was a great benefit. So if you had issues with orders, things like that, you just called and got it handled. And like I said, the fees were low. The prices were good. The pandemic happened and everybody was able to start selling gear for, double the price of what they should have. And people are still to this day trying to do that. But they're also, with the Etsy fees that took over, people are trying to put the Etsy fees into their price, as well as also fluff their shipping costs. They're trying to get a little extra money on both of those to counteract the fees and the taxes. So items are very bloated price-wise. You can go find the same items on Facebook Marketplace and not spend anything near what you're going to spend on Reverb. And there seemed to be less storefronts back then, so you actually had more end users, actual buyers of the gear. They were trying to sell it so you could work out deals, you could talk to each other, maybe sweeten the pot, thing like that. But now there's so many stores on there that are just trying to sell the stuff that they're getting in their store, trade-ins that they just can't seem to sell anywhere else, and they're not really trying to work out any deals with you. So it's like the whole ability to get a deal part is really kind of not as good as it used to be. You can still do it, but it's not anywhere near where it used to be. And then I believe it was last year they rolled out the 1099 tax form, which is not a Reverb thing, it's a thing they have to do. So not only are you getting taxed and feed when you sell it, you're also getting taxed and feed in the end by the government. So it's kind of like, it's reached a point now like where the scale is kind of tipped. It's almost better just to take it to Guitar Center, take your little 60% of trade-in value and call it a day, because you're not going to pay the fees, you're not going to pay the shipping, you're not going to pay taxes at the end of the year. It's really losing its ability to be the place to go to. And I've been thinking about all that. And that brings us to the most recent news, and I'm sure you guys have all heard about. These two investors have bought out Reverb. And a lot of the headlines you see in a lot of videos and articles are kind of like dramatizing the truth. They try to say, oh, Fender bought Reverb. Not really. It wasn't really Fender itself, per se, that bought Reverb. It's two investors that have invested into Fender, and they are stakeholders. But they are actually two other entities. It's not like this blanket Fender as a whole bought it. But anyway, so you have these two investment companies that have bought Reverb. The thing is, like I said, they have stake in Fender, so is it eventually going to become Fender's way to unload used gear? Who knows? Are they going to bump Fender up in the search? Because you can pay for bumping on Reverb. So who says that they won't just automatically bump Fender products from the actual Fender company? That could happen. They say it's not going to, but I don't put any faith in that. And when I first heard about it, I thought, well, maybe they'll count the fees down. Maybe they'll cut the fees down. And it's like, nah, they're not going to make the less money. So the fees aren't going to go down. What I would like to see happen with this company that's taking over is more ability for the little man to come to the top, a little work on the price gouging, because there's a lot of price gouging going on there. I would like to see them actually bring back the customer service hotline where you could call and talk. There's things they could do to kind of counteract the negatives to make it a place to be again. If they're just going to add more negatives on top of the negatives already, I mean, I already don't like selling there. I put items on there for good price and they don't sell, and I end up just taking them somewhere else. So I don't know what your experience is with Reverb. Are you having trouble selling there? Are you even buying there? I haven't bought on Reverb in I don't know how long. So I would like to know your experience. Are you having trouble selling there? Do you still buy on there? I don't think I've bought on there in I don't know how long. It's been a long time since I've bought on Reverb. And I used to buy on Reverb like every week. The question is, like, why am I not doing it anymore? Is it because of all these things? Who knows? Maybe it's finally done. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Is Reverb even a place you go to anymore? And if it is, what are your thoughts on it? See you in the next one.